Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London's exceptional story, Borrowed Glory. In the last episode we met a tiger, and he has a dream of taking people's skills or something like that. We mingled with the guest and we investigated the kitchen, so the only thing that's left is to dine with the prince. Of everyone here, he is the only one who appears truly jubilant, enthroned before a parade of culinary pleasures. At the sight of you, the rapturous prince roars, "My best friend! My best worker! My great and fantastic comrade! Come here! Come here and let me look at your face." We have sat with the Tiger Prince for dinner. His voice is victuals and unusual, effigies of crisped duck's skin, spun sugar sculptures, monuments of frosting, all made to resemble one or another of the guests. What a strange sampling of dishes to have on the table all at once. Fantastic, isn't it? So, we can either flatter the prince into explaining the party. Genius is never appreciated by the unwashed masses. That's what you'll tell the preening tiger. Or we can goad the prince into revealing his plans. It's a little bit much, isn't it? One might even describe it as gaudy. I think we're going to go with that one. How brave of you. Oh dear. I'm not hiding anything. No. All this, it's part of what I'm hoping to do. It's my good fortune that the process matches my tastes. The prince stares at you, drowsy-eyed, despite the cut of his tone, the eagerness of his elocution. What you're seeing here is the greatest lie of them all. That one must waste hours in failing to succeed at anything. His grin could eat worlds. You don't have to work to grow, to learn, you know. Sometimes you just need to swallow what you want. At least, that is what I do. I can acquire certain skills by swallowing them whole. Okay, so we can consider our plate. You've been invited to dine after all. What a peculiar assembly of saccharine and savoury, made into the shape of facial parts. A marzipan nose there, a cross-section of someone's profile, as imagined in meatloaf, and a champagne flute of something burgundy and gluttonous seeming. It is unlikely you'll be able to keep much, if any, of this down. We can try one thing, so we can either sample the nose of everything on your plate. This seems the least offensive. We can eat the meatloaf. It isn't cannibalism, it only looks like it. Or we can sip your drink. If you're lucky, it's just wine thickened with some exotic reagent. Let's just sip the drink. That seems like the most polite thing to do. Something very strange just happened, and the web page refreshed itself when it wasn't supposed to. So I don't know if this is the next stage or something seems amiss. I feel like I should have known what the drink tastes like before this happened, but oh dear. I'm just going to carry on like nothing happened. After several more bites, the prince scowls into his meal. It's not working. These are just memories. Perhaps it only works there. Typical. His interest in the meal waned. He focuses entirely on you. I want you to come to my court, to be my right hand. It would delight me to see you as head of my future staff, to replace my Schnischel. Given how poorly he performed, I asked him to bring London's finest, and I'm getting nothing out of them. At this, the love-sickened Schnischel makes an unhappy, keening noise. He looks as if he wishes to speak. Well, we can listen to him. He clears his throat several times, eyes downcast. After a minute of preparing, he seems ready to speak. "Please, my prince, you promised. All I want..." The rapturous prince cocks a bored look at the other tiger. "You have nothing left to give. Not only that, you haven't been able to give me what I want. But this one, they have... Will they let you wear their skin? Because I will, pants the Schnischel. Pupils turn to pinholes. "I know why the meal doesn't work. The guests are not willing, but I am willing, my prince." That is interesting. Yes. Well, in that case, what are you waiting for? Go and get that sorted for me. The prince returns his attention to you. And you must help. I'm not done with you. I have plans for you. Don't worry. It is partially metaphorical, whispers the love-sickened Schniesel. You won't be flaying me. We will make him a stand-in, a totem of a kind. Then I will anoint it with parts of myself, and it is in Parabola that he will don it. The light melts from his eyes, leaving only a vacant dark. It is as much as I can hope for. This is the most I can give him now. There are no more words after that, only the list of required materials. The contents are intriguing. Bones, sinew, sweetbreads, high-quality vellum, a knot of esoteric unguents that have little to do with one another. Well, I guess we will help him. He very clearly needs you. And besides, in case you change your mind later, you should know what you're working with. Good, good. I wasn't sure how I'd do it alone, he chuckles softly. The prince never bothered to learn the details. He always relied on me. He needs his victims to be unresisting and in Parabola. Something about the place weakens the spirit, lulls it, makes it easier to scrape from the skin. But even I won't be able to rely on myself. By the end, I won't have the strength to do more than drag myself along. I do need your help. Thank you. Thank you so much. He mews quietly, head slung low, the picture of a stray kitten brought in from the cold. We've agreed for now, at least, to help him create the skin for the prince. So we can do a few things here. There's a perfect place to fetch us things, bones and beautiful sinew and all the organs in between. Hangman's Arch would be an ideal place to acquire such ingredients. Well, let's go to Hangman's Arch first. Of all the boroughs in London, where better indeed to find a bounty of dead men's bones than the gallows? Death struggles to find Tennessee here, but Londoners are resourceful. Hangman's Arch is rowdy with excitement. Someone important must be in the queue for the gallows. Merchants parlay their wares, rogues present pieces of rope for premature purchase. Let's appeal to the kindness of strangers. Someone here must be willing to help. Those are some filthy things you're looking for, but thankfully we have some. They're old though. Now people come back too quick for us to cut off parts, so we barter limbs from long ago. The old woman spits onto the ground, performs a gesture that may well be religious, and then points behind her to a smiling woman in clothes the glossy colours of Wren's wig. She might know where to find some. She's the one who sells the souvenirs. Then she jabs a crooked finger at another woman. This one much younger and more predatory in posture. For that one, we'll sell them you for cheap. So we can get what we need from the first woman, best to deal with reputable merchants, or we can get what we need from the second woman. Cheap ingredients might make any ambitions of treachery later that much easier. I mean, I really don't like the prince, so yeah. Let's get the dubious ones. Up close, it becomes sumptuously clear that the woman is a deviless. Her smile toothy, her eyes glowing. Her stall is a rat's nest of bloodied baskets, all neatly hidden under old, grime-encrusted rags. You found the right merchant. She scans your list. I've got what you need. Cheap. 1 piece free even. Just don't tell anyone you saw me until Tuesday. You take what you're given and return to the Schniesel. The cheaper cut. Oh, okay, so the vellum I get from using my maps, and the unguents I get from beeswax and abominable salts. Okay, so I have just got everything I need. Isn't that useful? Well, I guess we'll give him the charnel. The supplier was thoughtful enough to store them neatly in a clean brown wax paper. The love-sickened Schniesel frees the bones and lets go of a relieved sigh. Though fresh, they do not stink of the effluvia, and instead smell faintly of libraries, a musty, lived-in aroma. He arranges them into a complex diorama, a half-circle that he slowly builds into a snail shell. At least, if snails were entirely bones. The big ones he shatters between his teeth, snaps into splinters, laid into spiral patterns. Alright, well, let's give him his sheets of fresh vellum. It's fortunate that London likes to use good vellum in their maps. The lovesick Schneasel spreads the vellum across the floor and begins, with painstaking care, to write upon their buttery surface, the back still lightly frosted with fine blonde hairs. In case you were puzzled, this is the language of cats, he explains with a reedy chuckle, as he continues to jot down bizarre, scratchy, beautiful logograms. And now we can give him his clumps of gleaming beeswax, an entire vial of pungent, stinging salts. Only the Schneschel will know how it all comes together. The beeswax and the salts are unbottled and set along a row. Have you ever found yourself between a bad idea and a worse fate? Whispers the love-sickened Schneasel, gaze abstracted, his attention without target. It's what life is like with the prince. Then, one after another, he chokes down the unguents you've gathered, wincing gently with each swallow. They need to be in my blood for this to work, he tells you softly. Oof. Okay, so he is ready to present his gift to the prince? Hang this mirror at the foot of your bed, says the love-sickened Schneasel, handing you a slither of glass that resembles a thunderbolt. He looks tired, emptied of any joy he might have possessed. The work he is creating is yet unfinished, a series of prepared ingredients, but nothing of coherent shape. I'll bring the prince's gift. You return to your lodgings and wait. Before long, the Schneschel arrives, dragging a large shape trussed up in brown paper. A version of me to take into dreams, he tells you quietly. Now, I need you to sleep. We will meet at the prince's court. You settle into bed, and despite the oddness of being studied by a tiger, you succeed at drifting into sleep. You wake in a beautiful hall. It is a grand, shifting, golden thing, chandeliered with silk and lush with candle glow. Vaulted windows, pinioned by arching cornice, reveal the depths of a dense jungle. Faceless courtiers surround the rapturous prince, applauding at odd intervals. Behind him tower two thrones, both occupied by lolling figures. Let's explore the surrounding halls. The rapturous prince can wait. The prince's court blooms from the central vestibule, spreading into graceful hallways which then seep into new rooms. The further you travel, the more unfinished the architecture, the more putty-like and unformed it becomes. Go where you are directed. A cluster of nervous courtiers stand at the entrance to a corridor, beckoning you inwards. Ceiling and wall and floor melt into a singular colour, an orange-red like the pelt of the love-sickened Schneasel. As you walk, whispers eddy into hearing. It sounds like you've stepped into someone's memories. Excellent an organisation, that one. Couldn't have thought of a better person to hire. The young prince and his Schneschel get along so well, don't they? If only the prince was more like his Schneschel. The voices swell until the syllables become a slurry, noise without syncopation or rhythm, until the rapturous prince's voice rings like a trumpet. These are memories, though whose it is hard to say. You're loyal to me, right? Stand there, right there. There, it's not going to hurt, I promise. I only want your best self. We can investigate the gardens. Unlike the encroaching jungles, the gardens are spare, clean, aesthetic. Even by the standards of the court, there is something vastly peculiar about the gardens. The flowers are blurred, the foliage ill-shaped, and the palette vibrant but limited. Only a few colours on display, but all of them brilliant. It is absurdly astoundingly beautiful from a distance. Up close, the blooms, the shrubbery, and the statues in the bone-white dirt all seem unformed. Let's peer into the dining hall. How do tigers eat? I feel like I'm going to regret this decision. It is an abattoir, a slaughterhouse teethed with detritus of a carnivore's orgastic feast. The walls are slick with red, the ceiling pockmarked with splatter. The gore is mountainous, but thankfully scentless. Something ripples within the carnal bodies and silhouette, their motions staccato. One emerges into a slant of light. It resembles one of the posable dolls that artists sometimes employ, save its head resembles the partially carved mane of a tiger. "No," it says, jerkingly ushering you out. "Not here, not ever. Don't." Okay, well, let's return to the Rapturous Prince, I guess. Let's try and speak with the courtiers. Some of them must know what's happening. They clatter as you approach and twitch in place, marionettes clumsily puppeted by a drunk's hand. Your presence excites the courtiers, thrills them into nightmare motion. They swarm you, chattering in their odd way. "More," grates one. "More, more, more, starving more." Oh dear. Can we eavesdrop on them? Can they even speak? "I know you're not complete yet," coos the prince, a gardener with his plants. "But it'd be remedied, I promise. No more half-lives." In answer, his audience makes a noise like nails upon clear glass. The courtiers trade eyeless stares and jounce graciously in place. They might possibly be excited, or at least are endeavouring to mime such. Okay, let's return to the preparations. I guess we'll be paying my respects to the other royal tigers. There, astride their individual thrones, are two tigers garbed as richly as any monarch. They sit enshrined upon their thrones, listless. Two tigers in raiment fit for any species of royalty, peacock blues and peacock golds, indigo, bright opaline accents in stark contrast with their dull, golden eyes. "He tried to make copies," comes the oblique courtier's voice. It did not work. He loiters behind the thrones, keeping well out of the prince's sight. "Let's, salute the king. It is his majesty that receives your salutation." Nothing illuminates those massive eyes. No animation, no hunger, no semblance of vigour. He stares at you, leaden-gazed. Then he tries to speak and chokes out a torrent of voices. The young prince wants to rule. Adorable. Where are his brothers? Have you seen them? The prince has a gift. The prince. What have you done? Okay, let's pay respects to the queen. Courtesy demands you address such a great lady. Like her mate, she seems slightly broken. Unlike her mate, her eyes still have focus. With great intentness, the feline matriarch stares past you towards the doors, a frightened expression of hunger on her mane. "What have you done?" she whispers. Illiterally, she repeats, with only subtle variation until the last. Her voice empties again into pensive quiet. "What have you done, my son? What have you done?" Oh dear, let's return to the preparations. Okay, so let's present the homunculus to the prince. There's no time like the present. The Schneasel, mouth waxen and gleaming, staggers up to the rapturous prince, his gift dragged along behind him by a rope. "For you," he whispers. Finally, the love-sickened Schneasel unveils what he's made. It is a hideous thing, a life-size representation of himself, stitched from tattooed skin and broken bones, its eye sockets flaccid, its mouth gaping. "Perfect," purrs the rapturous prince. "I've always wanted to see what it'd be like to wear your skin." The love-sickened Schneasel moves his fate to face his creation. He bows low. His lips touch the effigy, and his body begins to convulse. he melts into his creation, deliquescing into shimmering colour. Just as quickly, it is over, and it is only the prince grinning expectantly at you. So we have two options here. We can either assist the prince, he stares at you, resin-eyed, his smile expectant, or we can try and stop this prince. It's only a 60% chance of success here, but the oblique courtier's ungent may be of some use here. Let's roll the dice. I don't like this prince fella. Oh dear, we failed. You have been noticed. You move to wipe the ungent along the circle of broken bone teeth of the homunculus, but something, whether the red-green shine of the substance or some tremble in your motions, gives you away to the prince pants upon you. No, no, he says. No decoctions. It needs to be pristine and perfect, you understand. At least he isn't angry. Try again. Yes, we succeeded. Deftly, you wipe the courtier's ungent along the broken bone teeth of the homunculus. If the rapturous prince notices, he makes no indication of it. We can warn the prince. I guess that's our back-out clause. Who are you to interfere with the affairs of tigers, really? Tell him before it's too late. Or we can just let the prince go ahead. He has eaten his cake, so to speak. Now, the rapturous prince must deal with the consequences. At the prince's instructions, you pry apart the homunculus's maw, pull on the jaws until they open into an orifice large enough to fit a tiger. He deftly steps through. For a while, he writhes, a muscular bulge in the swaddle of borrowed skin, before the fit settles. How lovely, says the rapturous prince, staring out through the empty eye sockets. He never finishes. Something is coming for the prince. Out of the walls, out of the ranks of the faceless courtiers come tigers? No, not tigers. Not fully, at least. More like the misshapen dream of them. Half-formed, mostly clay. They slink up to the prince and take hold of him, running human hands along mouth, muzzle, Valentine ears. And as they do, they close around him like a trap. When they withdraw, the rapturous prince is nothing more than a bundle of trussed-up skin. It writhes inconsistently. I think we'll follow the creatures as they drag the prince away. Sometimes there is nothing to do but bear witness. The dream things gibber tonelessly to each other. In the gap between one heartbeat and another, they've grown in number, building into a tide. They whisper without pause, a fluid droning that soon breaks into individual voices. Somehow, it is the prince's voice that emerges in distorted madrigal. Don't interfere. His fault. His fault. He did this to us. Don't interfere. They do not stop you from following. The prince's old victims, a saffron flood of clay-textured bodies, hundreds of arms, thousands of paws, and long-fingered hands clutch at the prince, tugging, always tugging. Pieces come bloodlessly loose. All at once, the group simply drips through the floor, and the last thing you hear is the prince crying out in rage. You wake, suddenly and violently. The prince was taken by his new skin. Ah, the oblique courtier is here. He stands at the foot of your bed where the homunculus once stood. His expression is lost in gloom. The love-sickened Schnischel is nowhere to be seen, but the oblique courtier is a more immediate concern. Demand, he tells you everything. You achieved what he wanted, you deserve to know what's going on. The prince. His chuckle fills your lodgings. The prince is not dead, but certainly not at all happy, and certainly not as full of himself as he once was. His victims have attempted to salvage what they can, and what they could not, they've made do. He took from them. It is only fair that they do the same to him. His candle-glow gaze moves up to some interminable point in the ceiling. It is as much as we can hope for. the whole prince is removed. The waking corpse will be safe, and the Schneschel, we will take care of him. He will never be whole again, but... Oh, well, we can receive our gift. The oblique courtier gestures you closer, his smile as broad as any tiger's appetite. I have something for you. With more delicacy than is to be expected, a paw as large as one belonging to the oblique courtier, he lays down a stone upon your tousled sheets. A single, luminous tiger's eye. The Schneschel would have liked you to have this. At least that is what I interpreted. The prince left very little of my old friend. A meditative sigh, and then he turns to leave. Tiger writing golden strokes into the shadows. Have a good night. We won't forget you. Tiger's eye, one of my favourite stones. And that is the end of the exceptional story. That was a short one, but very, very nice. I feel like it might have been longer if I took a different choice. Please, if you did choose to help the prince, let me know, because I am intrigued as to where that storyline would go. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll join me for the next one. So please let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated, and as always, I'll see you next time.